Plan with the end in mind. You and I are, all of us, wired in one of two directions: as an activist or as a strategist. As an activist or as a strategist. It's a bit of a continuum, activist versus strategist. Strategists want to measure twice, cut once. They're always thinking about the future. They're wondering what the precedent will be. What sort of precedent are we setting by doing this, by making this plan? I wonder, they say things like, I wonder what kind of message that sends. That's a strategist. We got to think all this through, all the way out. Logical conclusion. Activist, just ready to get going. I just want to knock something out. Let's just get moving. I don't care. Why are we still talking? Both have strengths, both have weaknesses. So for the strategist, there's a temptation to never actually get moving because they're paralyzed. I have to have the perfect plan. I need to know every implication and the future consequence of every action, and everything sets a precedent that I may not want to be there in 20 years, and you just end up getting paralyzed and you never get moving. Whereas for an activist, you can waste a lot of energy because you didn't think ahead. Activity is not necessarily productivity. Just because you're doing something doesn't mean you're being productive. Busyness is not productivity. In fact, if you're doing something that's not producing, you should stop doing it, right? So instead of getting trapped in an activist versus strategist where you're either paralyzed or going 100 different directions but not actually being productive, a better strategy is to plan with the end in mind. Plan with the end in mind. Number one, this will be 3 parts. Number one, you have to specify the end. This one feels the most obvious, and in my opinion, one of the least done things. You have to specify the end. Why are we doing this? Where specifically are we trying to get? What will it be like when we get to the end that we are trying to get to? What will it look like? What will people act like? What will it smell like? What will it taste like there? You have to be able to paint that picture. You have to specifically know the end that we are striving for, because you have to be able to help people see the value of that end goal and why it's worthy to strive for it, because only then will they see the value of the steps that are necessary to get there. This is what leads people to sacrifice for something. They perceive the end goal to be worthy of the steps necessary to get there. If you don't think the end goal is worthy, then you're not going to do the steps that are necessary to get there. Or if you just don't know what the end goal is. This is when people on your team start saying, why are we doing this exactly? This sure is a lot of work. Where are we going? What are we trying to get to? You have to specify the end. Knowing the end is why some decisions are good and others are bad. This is the way to know if you made a right or wrong decision. Does it help you get to the end? That's what makes a bad decision a bad decision. So if you've ever been trying to give someone some coaching and it's like, that was a horrible decision. And I don't know, you didn't mean to make a horrible decision. Like your aim was not to make a bad choice, to make a bad leadership decision, but you did. That's because they didn't actually specify the end and therefore work that back to realize this is a decision that doesn't get me closer to that end. This is what makes decisions bad. It's what makes systems and processes bad. It's what makes plans bad. You're not getting people to the end that you're wanting them to get to. This is for parenting. This is for work, for your life group, for your marriage, for all of life. 1,000 turns are navigated by knowing the address. If you do not know the address, you might be driving, but you're not going anywhere. It's a right or a wrong turn based on where it is you're trying to get, right? So you got to specify the end, and you cannot just assume that people know that end, and I'll come back to that. Number 2, you got to make a plan. You have to actually make a plan. What will we do? How will we do it? Who will be accountable for getting it done? Sometimes that involves what Jim Collins in Good to Great calls getting the right people on the bus. You need the right people to help you work up a plan. Who are the people that we need input and insight from so that we can make the best plan possible? One of the things that will help you with your planning is knowing the difference between something that's an emergency and something that's urgent. Sometimes emergencies overwhelm us, and all of our energy and all of our planning goes to emergencies, and we don't actually focus on the things that are urgent. So an emergency is something that you feel is a problem right now. Urgent is an issue that will keep you from getting to the end. You need to focus your leadership energy on what's urgent, regardless of what feels like an emergency right now, right? So you got to know the difference between emergency and urgent. I love this quote. It's about Napoleon. I think, it's at the bottom of your page there. Napoleon allegedly said that no successful battle ever followed its plan. Yet, Napoleon also planned every one of his battles, far more meticulously than any earlier general had done. Without an action plan, the executive becomes a prisoner of events. I love that term, prisoner of events. You're just trapped in what's happening right now, and all you're doing is responding to put fires out, and everything's about the emergencies that are in front of you, and nothing's about what's mission critical, what's urgent to get us to the end. And I also like how Napoleon allegedly said no successful battle ever followed its plan, which leads us to number 3. You have to act, evaluate, and react. Act, evaluate, and react. No plan survives an attack from the enemy. Anybody know where we got that one? Chris, do you remember? No plan survives an attack from the enemy. Well, it's a lot of wisdom from the office. Is it really? We'll go ahead and change that language. No plan survives an attack from the enemy. And listen, you will never have a perfect plan. You will never have a perfect plan. There are no guarantees. You might fail. You don't know the future. So you have to overcome the fear of, what if it doesn't go well? You have to overcome the fear of, what if it doesn't go well? It might not. And we trust the sovereign Lord of the universe who works all things according to his good purpose. So sometimes just go ahead and make a mistake. Feel free to fail every now and then, not like on purpose, but you'll learn from it, and God will use it. He uses our successes and our failures to train us and teach us and coach us. And sometimes more information only comes after we move, after you get going. Action can lead to more evidence. Your best decision will come after you do something. I'll say it this way. A genius can see every single thing that's going to happen before it happens. You are not a genius, so you don't know what's going to happen. So sometimes you just have to get moving and then evaluate it and then replan, reevaluate, react, right? You just got to get going. The right decision will rarely be the first decision. The right decision. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. I cannot tell you how many people I have heard say when asked, what do you guys do for like family worship, family Bible, family prayer? Their answer will be, well, I mean, we just could never figure out something that we knew would work, and we've thought of a few things, and honestly, we just don't do anything. It's like, okay, you should have just made any plan, started trying it, realize my kids don't listen to that. Let's do something different. Let's modify. Let's change. But when you get going, you get more information that allows you to make better decisions. I thought this Bible was going to really work. I thought it was on my kids' level, but they don't understand a single word that I'm saying. We got to level down, right? But that's not information you can have at first because you haven't actually taken the first step. So you got to act, evaluate, and react. The right decision will rarely be the first decision. This is a quote from Spurgeon. I don't think it didn't make it to the notes. I must have found it after this went to print. The way to do a great deal is to keep on doing a little. The way to do nothing at all is to be continually resolving that you will do everything. The way to do a great deal is to keep on doing a little. The way to do nothing at all is to continually be resolving that you will do everything. I give you a little tool for evaluation for how you might evaluate and react. And I'll see if I can. Is this one on, Nick? Will you put this one on so I can kind of hold this? I'll do this real quick and then we can discuss. Let's see if this works. So, we'll do one of these. Been really into these. I don't know what you call them, but I've been doing a lot of these lately. It's not like a chart or something? I've been really into graphs. This is not as easy to write on as a whiteboard. All right, here's an evaluation tool for if your plan is working or not. Things can be done wrong or done right, but also you can be doing the wrong things or the right things. Y'all can't read this. All right, so you got a little grid here. It's possible to do the wrong things and then do them really poorly. So I would never say this in front of all of our church because we're trying to keep people from thinking this. The city of Columbia, in my mind, goes here. You chose to not build the city on the river. You've done the wrong thing. Now from there, you've chosen to scatter all of our best places all over the city instead of having one really cool spot that you build out of first. You did the wrong thing, and then you did it really poorly. You did the wrong thing the wrong way, right? You did the right thing, but didn't do it that great. So this is cola, make cola home. The right thing, but the wrong way is you walk into a restaurant and you're like, oh my gosh, I love this location. What a cool theme. And then the service is really, really slow and the food is so disappointing. Man, you chose the right thing. You didn't do it the right way, though. You did the right thing poorly. That happens. That's what happened when we went to Warmouth. It was like we walked in the other day for lunch, and it was like, man, I love this place. What a cool idea. Great location, great. The food was just like, oh, man. Oh, man. I think this one actually eats up Columbia's entrepreneur community. Been on a kick lately. People have great ideas, and they don't do them right. You didn't do it right, so it's not good, and you should have done it right. It's possible to do the wrong thing, but do it the right way. So the wrong thing done right. This is like you hire somebody to fix your roof, and you come home from work, and they're like, your windows are sparklingly clean. Your roof still has a leak, but look how shiny the windows are. They look better than ever. And it's like, man, you did it great. Great job on the windows, but I needed the roof. Right? And then this is like, this is the market, Soda City Market. This is, yes, that was the right thing, and you nailed it. This is the zoo, this Riverbank Zoo. They just make all the right choices, and almost always they execute them the right way. But now here's why this is really helpful. Because sometimes people will think our plan isn't working, it's the wrong thing. When in reality is, no, you had a great plan, you just didn't do it right. So maybe you don't need to change the plan. Maybe you had a great idea, but you need to change your execution on it, right? So it's just a little bit of a tool to help you figure out how you evaluate, what do I need to change? Is it that we have the right thing, we have the right thing, we're just not doing it rightly? Or is it, we're doing everything right, it's just the wrong direction? Like we're cleaning windows when what we ought to have been doing is fixing a roof. Doesn't matter how shiny the windows are. This is just wasted effort. So hopefully that'll be at least of somewhat help to you. All right, to transition, I'll give you an example that's actually, maybe this will help you understand why I think this is helpful, and I don't know if I explained it that great or not. So Alan's team, but all of us had been talking about, we want to be more proactive in getting people connected to their neighbors. We want to help lead at downtown. We want to help people connect with their neighbors in a mission-oriented kind of a way. We thought that was the right thing, the right idea. So we said, let's try neighborhood block parties. And they just didn't work. They just didn't work. And we thought we were doing them really, really well. We thought that we were doing our best. And I'll be honest, my inclination was to think, okay, that's just the wrong thing. That's the wrong thing. But then we did Sundays in the Park, which is the same idea. We just did it differently, right? It's the same thing, same direction, same idea. We executed it differently, and 200-something people came out. And it was like, this was the same thing. So we had the right thing. We were just doing it wrong. And if we would have been so quick to dismiss the idea and say, well, this idea isn't what we need to be pushing towards anymore, then we would have missed out on something that ended up being really good. Does that make sense? So it'll help you evaluate My ministry's not working. It's not going right. Why? Why? Are you doing it the wrong way, or is it the wrong direction in the first place? And you can't be too quick to pick because it'll change how you think about it. So anyway, discuss. A couple minutes just to discuss anything that we just said about playing with the end in mind.